Hello everyone and welcome to episode 1 of a brand new World of Warcraft Let's Play series, which is the fourth and final of my hardcore mini-series that I've been doing, where we are playing the hardcore version of World of Warcraft Classic, which for anyone new, what that means is that as we play through the world of Azeroth, we are playing through the vanilla world from level 1 to level 60, but as we do so, we only have one life. Where this is probably going to be my final ever hardcore playthrough in any capacity in World of Warcraft. I might play again in the future like just by myself, but I'll talk more about that as we progress in this Let's Play series, where based off the thumbnail of this video and the title of this video, you probably know what race and class we are playing. Where last Let's Play series I played an undead priest, and today for our final hardcore mini-series I want to go ahead and go back over to the Alliance where we started as a night elf in the first of these 4 mini-series, and I want to go ahead and check out the Dwarves, where we see this very cool looking guy right here. And as a dwarf we can play as one of 5 different classes: a warrior, a paladin, a hunter, a rogue, and a priest, where we played as a priest in the last Let's Play series, and in the one before that I played a hunter, and then I have kind of explored a little bit of warrior and rogue in my streams and my other videos and whatnot, and I want to explore more of them in the future as well. And I've also explored a tiny bit of the paladin in like different videos kind of, but I want to go ahead and today dive deep into the paladin class, and we can go ahead and explore what it is to be a paladin in World of Warcraft vanilla, where a dwarf in ages past the dwarves cared only for riches taken from the earth's depths. Then records surfaced of a godlike race said to have given the dwarves life and an enchanted birthright. Driven to learn more, the dwarves devoted themselves to the pursuit of lost artifacts and ancient knowledge. Today, dwarven archaeologists are scattered throughout the globe. May take on a stone form, skill with guns increased, which is not going to be very helpful for us as a paladin, resistant to frost, and we are better at finding treasure. Where paladins do battle to protect the world from the forces of shadow, powerful warriors in their own right. They can also call upon the light to heal wounds, create shields of force, and incinerate evil creatures. Although paladins were once exclusively human, a number of stout-hearted dwarves have recently been welcomed into the Order of the Silver Hand, where paladins are one of my favorite classes in all of World of Warcraft, and I just love them so much. And before hardcore World of Warcraft released properly with like full servers, I played on the other servers, like community servers that people kind of created a hardcore community on for people to play the hardcore challenge together. And the single character that I played on that server from level 1 to level 15, where I didn't die, I just stopped playing the character because I wanted to wait for official hardcore servers, was a paladin. So this is kind of a full circle moment for me, where I'm kind of beginning my journey and ending my journey in hardcore as a paladin and as a dwarven paladin, where we have some different character customization options we can see here. So let's go ahead and pick something that I like. So I'm probably just going to go for my basic stuff here, and I think that is pretty decent as far as dwarves go, which I do like dwarves quite a bit, and I haven't played a dwarf in a long time, and they're not like my favorite race in the world, but they're definitely ones I enjoy. I don't think there's any races that I particularly hate, but I'm going to go ahead and check mark this box called self-found, where we can check this box to toggle self-found mode for this character, where we can't trade with other players, we can't send mail to other players or receive player mail, and we can't buy or sell from the auction house. Wish I checked this for my undead priest, and I kind of wish I could just like give free stuff to like other people, but since I did my first 2 hardcore series as normal, let's do the last 2 as self-found, and then I can go ahead and name myself, and we can enter the world of Azeroth.
The stoic dwarves of Ironforge spent countless generations mining treasures from deep within the earth. Hidden within their impregnable stronghold of Ironforge Mountain, they rarely ventured beyond the wintry peaks of Dulmora. Recently, however, the dwarves unearthed a series of ruins that held secrets to their ancient heritage. Driven to discover the truth about his people's fabled origins, the great king Magni Bronzebeard ordered that the dwarves shift their industry from mining to archaeology. As part of the Grand Alliance, the stalwart dwarven armies have been called away to battle the merciless horde in faraway lands. In these perilous times, the defense of the Mountain Kingdom falls to brave dwarves like you. The spirits of the ancient kings watch over you, and the very mountains are your strength. The future of your people is in your hands.
Where the start of that cutscene looked or sounded a little scuffed, but we are here in Cold Ridge Valley, which is the Dwarven and Gnomish starting zone, where if you remember back to my Orc Shaman level 1 through 60 playthrough in Season of Discovery that I'm still doing, the Orcs and Trolls share a starting zone as two members of the Horde, and we as Dwarves share a starting zone with the Gnomes, where we can go ahead and talk to Sten, Stout Arm right here, where we can pick up our very first quest. And I just love the vibes of this entire starting zone and this entire map, and just playing as a dwarf is so fun just because of like the immaculate vibes of these like snowy like hills with all these snow-capped trees and massive mountains and dwarven structures all around us. And then we can find an inn at the end of this episode. We're at the end of our long journey throughout our time playing in this session. We can go ahead and sit down by the fire and kind of just enjoy the warmth of an inn before we head back out into the cold. But let's go ahead and begin fighting some of these young wolves around here, and we can go ahead and begin completing this quest. And I need to go into my settings and change some things, where we as paladins are primarily a martial fighter, but we also have like some magical capabilities as well. So you can kind of imagine the idea of like a warrior that we could play as, or a priest that we can play as, and you can combine the two together to get the paladin, which this type of gameplay and style tends to be like my favorite type across like all of gaming, where in World of Warcraft, I absolutely love paladins and I absolutely love death knights, which are very similar to paladins, but paladins are, you know, holy light wielders, and death knights are pretty much the opposite, or not the exact opposite because that would be like fighting with void, but they fight with death magic. And then when we look at other games as well, like particularly Guild Wars 2, my favorite class in that game is a Guardian, which is very, very similar to a Paladin, where you fight with like swords and shields, but you also have some magical capabilities as well. So as we explore a Paladin in the world of Azeroth, and as we desperately try to find some more young wolves because they seem to be decimated right now, we can go ahead and just hit these wolves with our hammer, and potentially we could unlock a great sword or a sword and a shield, or a variety of other things that we could use as a paladin. I forget every single thing you can use, and we can go ahead and use those weapons against our enemies. But as we do so, we also have all of the magical elements to being a paladin that we can look at as well, where we have the seal of righteousness fills the paladin with Holy Spirit for 30 seconds, granting each melee attack an additional 1 to 4 holy damage. Slower weapons cause more holy damage per swing. Only one seal can be active on the paladin at any one time. Where when we look at the classic version of this game, this ability only lasts 30 seconds, which is kind of frustrating, and in future versions of the game it lasts for like half an hour, so that's definitely nice. But we can go ahead and unlock a skill soon enough that will allow us to use this seal. And there are other seals that we can unlock that will do different things, but we can only have one seal on us at a time, where we need one more ragged young wolf. So let's go ahead and kill this one, and then as we kill him we will gain our very first level, where I want to go ahead and try to at least reach like level 8 for a reason I'll explain in a couple episodes probably, but I definitely want to get to around level 15 to 20 in that range for everything that I have planned in this mini series, where I'm not necessarily going for level 60. If I'm having like a ton of fun, I might go ahead and try to push a little further, but I'm not particularly like wanting to do a whole like playthrough of the entirety of World of Warcraft, and I just want to continue doing what I've been doing in these mini-series and kind of exploring some different aspects of World of Warcraft, where we completed our first quest and we got these cool looking gloves, and we have 2 quests that we can do now, where we have one to deliver mail to someone further into the valley, and then we're going to quest to go even further. And then we got one to go talk to our paladin trainer, and now we have one to fight the Trogs, which we'll read that quest in just a moment. But let's go ahead and come into Anvilmar, which is a very, very, very cool like fortress named after a very important dwarf character. But we can go ahead and find our paladin trainer in here, and we can go ahead and chat with him, and we can turn in this quest, and we can then talk to our paladin trainer, and we can learn devotion aura, except we don't have any money. So let's come to the armor really quickly and have a little chat, and we can sell these few items that we got here, and now we have 48 copper. So let's go ahead and buy this. And this is another buff similar to the seal, but this is a permanent buff where it gives 55 additional armor to party members within 30 yards, including ourselves. And we can unlock more auras in the future, but we can only have one active at a time. And if I were to just take a moment to explore Anvilmar a little bit further, we got this really cool fire right there, but we also got this like backroom area here where we have a mage trainer and a priest trainer and a demon trainer and a warlock trainer back here. So kind of like all the spellcasters and some of the gnomes are back here, where we have all of our like martial fighters like a rogue, a paladin, and a warrior and a hunter that are up here. But let's go ahead and exit this incredible fortress and go back out into the Cold of Cold Ridge Valley, which is a very aptly named place because it is a valley with ridges and it is cold. So ingenious naming. But let's go ahead and open this quest log here, where we have this quest called A New Threat, where I hope you're here to lend us a hand, Paladin. After the last Trog attack, we could use all the help we can get. I hear the buggers have been popping up all across the lands, and it seems Cold Ridge Valley is no exception. They've been spotted all over the hills to the southeast and near the frozen lake. And that's not all. Just a few nights ago, they attacked and overran our camp to the west. We're a bit short-handed here, lad, and we need strong arms to help drive the Trogs back. The Trogs are a very interesting race because they're kind of similar to humans and dwarves and gnomes in the sense that they are Titan constructs, where if you've been kind of watching and listening to all my Let's Play series, all of this stuff is basically stuff I've already talked about, and I'm just going to give a quick summary here, where they were Titan constructs, much like the humans and dwarves and gnomes and whatnot, but they are like failed constructs, and the Titans just lock them away, or the Titan Keepers specifically, I think, lock them away in a deep vault, and then that vault like got broken into and they were released, and they just are rampaging across the land now, where a very big storyline going on with them is how they basically destroyed Nomergon in a sense, where they are attacking Nomergon and then they use the like irradiated gas to try to kill him, but then to turn like all the gnomes into leper gnomes, etc., stuff related to the Nomergon story. But here in Cold Ridge Valley, we can go ahead and just fight a bunch of them. Whereas we continue our quests in Dunmerle and then into Khaz Modan, potentially if we don't die on the way there, we can continue encountering Trogs, and then we can also fight them in future zones as well. Where I suppose let's take this moment to run over here to Talon Kenai, where we can go ahead and chat with him for our first Cold Ridge Valley mail delivery, and then we can pick up a quest called the Boar Hunter, where we can then take the mail further down this road here, but we can also kill 12 small crag boars. So let's go ahead and do just that. Basic boar hunting, a very classic aspect of World of Warcraft that we can appreciate here. I think it's kind of fun to explore the concept of dwarves and trogs right now in the vanilla version of World of Warcraft, because if we were to look at the evolution of World of Warcraft over the years with future expansions, we see dwarves play big and minor stories here and there throughout the future of World of Warcraft, where with the current expansion that is releasing in the near future called The War Within, there is a lot of story related to the dwarves in that expansion, or specifically a subset of the dwarven race in general that we can interact with, and some other Titan-based stuff going on. But we can go ahead and kill this small cragboard right here, where as we do so, we will be able to level up to level 3, and I see a Rockjaw Trog over there that we can go ahead and fight, as well as we do the Boar Hunter, Whereas we kill this boar, we have gained a little bit of power. Our strength and stamina have increased by 1, and we have gained 18 health and 20 mana, which is nice. Where if you saw on the top left, as we level up, we restore all of our health and mana, which is very helpful for us in certain situations. And it's nice to try to like utilize that if you're going into like a strong fight, where if you're trying to kill like 4 enemies at one time and you kill 2 of them and the second one levels you up, you then regain all of your health and all of your mana, which will allow you to beat the other 2 significantly more easy instead of potentially dying, which is like something we can look at, but for the most part we kind of just level up randomly. But something that we can look at as a paladin is one of our spells that we unlocked at the very start of the game, and it is Holy Light, where it heals a friendly target for 40 to 49 health, where we haven't had to use this yet, but we can see it just uses up some of our mana and gives us some health, where we can run out of mana. And if you just run out of mana, we won't be able to use any of our spells, but if we run out of health, we are dead. And since this is hardcore, we are dead forever, and we are barely taller than this crackboar, which is kind of funny. And I think gnomes would be like the same height or maybe even smaller than the crackboar. Whereas we have been hunting enemies, we have gained some loot in our bags that I sold some of earlier, but we have some armor pieces that we can go ahead and look at here, and we can only equip when we are out of combat. So let's go ahead and take a look at this flimsy chain vest, where this crackboar dodged. Of course he did. There we go. We can go ahead and equip this and gain 63 armor, and also look a tad bit cooler, where we have this leather belt and these frayed pants that are an upgrade, and this frayed cloak, which we don't have a cloak yet. Wish paladins, very similar to warriors, start off with the ability to wear mail armor. So we can go ahead and equip mail, but since this is World of Warcraft, we can also equip leather and cloth gear as well. And then paladins, very similar to warriors, once they reach level 40, they can go ahead and learn how to wear plate armor, and I believe they are the only 2 classes in the game, and then with Death Knights and like Wrathlich Keen, and then there might be something in the future, they can wear plate armor, which is like super cool armor that's like even stronger than mail, and it will be able to give us some defenses, but we'll probably never unlock that on this character. Where this is the last crackboar that we need to kill for this quest, and I have killed enough trogs to complete that other quest. So I'm thinking let's go ahead and run over here and we can turn in this quest, get a little bit of experience and an upgrade to our pants here, and we are done with this fella. So let's go ahead and continue down this road here, where we can go to another dwarven camp just a little bit further into the valley, and we can go ahead and turn in this Cold Ridge Valley mail delivery quest, where this is going to unlock 2 quests, I believe, that we can do. So let's go ahead and come chat with them, where it looks like one of the quests we cannot pick up just yet because we are still level 3. But this is such a cool camp, where we have like some of these like rifle targets here and then this like axe target. But let's go ahead and chat with this guy, and we can go ahead and turn in this quest, where we can now kill 14 Frostmane troll whelps. And I think before we do that, and before we talk about the trolls, let's go ahead and return to Anvilmar, because we have a quest we can turn in, and then also a quest related to the trolls that we can pick up, where we can go ahead and turn into this quest. And I'm thinking the belt is probably the best thing for us. Even though we have no armor on the squire boots, we would gain 7 armor with the snow boots, but we would gain 20 armor with the rustic boot. That's 20 armor, right? Yeah. So we can go ahead and equip this, and with that we leveled up to level 4, so we can go ahead and run over to our paladin trainer once again, but I'll probably sell some stuff first, and we can go ahead and chat with him to learn probably a couple of new skills. And then we can also run into here so we can chat with the gnome over here. So let's go ahead, chat with him first. Felix Windowbolt, where he's a very cool looking fellow right there, and we can go ahead and pick up this quest, where we need to go pick up 3 different items at the troll camps. And then I'm not going to repair, I think I'm just going to sell all of this, where we should have our first silver, where we are now at 1 silver and 81 copper, and we are about to spend all that, where we can learn Blessing of Might and Judgment, where we cannot learn both, which is very interesting. So maybe I will go kill a few mobs really quickly, where I'm hoping these items that I just picked up by killing 3 wolves over there will be enough to get me over the threshold of 2 silver, where we are at the very start of the game, and of course we are struggling with money, which tends to be a big thing with the idea of vanilla World of Warcraft. But as we all know, the economy in vanilla servers is kind of messed up a little bit, where once you begin selling stuff on the auction house, you can make quite a bit of money. But we are now over 2 silver, so let's go ahead and talk to the Paladin trainer, where we can unlock Blessing of Might and Judgment. So we have these 2 brand new skills that I can begin looking at, and we can go ahead and go out towards the troll area. They are both in our Retribution tab here, and I can go ahead and begin fighting them, where I'll throw that there and this here, and let's go ahead and chat about these. Where we have the Frostmane trolls, which are very cool enemies because they are trolls and we as dwarves can fight them, where they are a tribe of trolls that have kind of just lived in this area of Azeroth for a very long time, where it's my understanding they basically just lived in this area of the world, kind of similar to like where the Gurubashi lived in like Stranglethorn and all the other troll tribes around there. And then when the Sundering happened, where the mega continent of Kalimdor was split apart because of the explosion of the Well of Eternity, it launched all the continents and all the islands that formed from the original mega continent of Kalimdor out from the center of the world, or I guess the known world, that is the Maelstrom, and the trolls that were living here just ended up here in the Eastern Kingdoms, where the dwarves have now kind of like founded their kingdom in this area of the world, and we now have some hostilities between the Frostmane and the dwarves and gnomes and other alliance factions around here, where we actually see a little bit of story here and there throughout the future World of Warcraft, where specifically in Mist of Pandaria, which might be something I explore in a stream, there is a scenario mission where you are kind of just wiping out the Frostmane trolls and making sure that Ironforge is safe. Where the Frostmane trolls is a very fun idea for me because this is kind of a popular, or somewhat popular thing that some people do in the World of Warcraft community, is that you could make a troll character that's like a blue troll that kind of like fits in with the Frostmane trolls, and you can run all the way across the world to this area and kind of just like join the tribe as like a horde troll. And the Frostmane trolls are hostile towards you, I believe, so you can't really hang out with them, but you can like pretend you're one of them, and you could like RP walk all around this place and maybe potentially fight like a horde player that is running through here. Where I ran here all the way from Kalimdor through like all Lordran and into Khaz Modan as like a level 5 troll, and I got here and I basically just wandered around a little bit before logging out forever, where I wasn't super interested in actually instigating any fights, and I kind of just wanted to do it for the experience of running here. Where I guess let's go ahead and look at our 2 new skills, where our first skill here, Judgment, is the thing that I was referring to earlier, where it involves our seal, where we can use our seal in order to gain a buff, but then we can unleash the energy of a seal upon an enemy, where we can see with our seal, unleashing the seal's energy will cause 20 holy damage to an enemy. So we can go ahead and use the seal of righteousness, and then we can use a judgment. So this is just another attack, and it's kind of like one of those like magical style attacks, and it just deals extra damage, and then it consumes the seal, so we do have to regain our seal, where in future versions of the game, as long as you have the seal up, you can just use it and it doesn't consume the seal, which is kind of nice. But this is vanilla, of course. Unleash the seal there, and we need 5 more Frostmane trolls, but we need 1 more of Felix's things, so let's go ahead and run down here. But then we have the second skill, which is Blessing of Might. Places a blessing on the friendly target, increasing melee attack power by 20 for 5 minutes, and players may only have 1 blessing on them per paladin at any one time. So this is kind of similar to like our seal and our devotion aura here, where we can only have 1 seal active at a time, and we can only have 1 aura active at a time. We can only have 1 blessing from S active at a time. But if we ran across another paladin somewhere in the world, or if we were to play with like a paladin friend alongside us, we could have this blessing as well as another blessing active at the same exact time. And kind of similar to how the seal only lasts for 30 seconds, this blessing only lasts for 5 minutes. So it's kind of similar to the shaman enhancements, where it runs out super quickly, but unlike the shaman enhancements, I feel like you don't lose as much from not having this buff on you, but you still definitely do lose a little bit. where let's go ahead and turn in this quest, the Troll Cave, and we can go ahead and choose either the Anvilmar Hammer here, which looks pretty cool, or the Anvilmar Sledge, which I think I want to go the two-handed route because I kind of want to play a Retribution Paladin in this series. And now we can get the Stolen Journal where we can kill the leader of the Frost Trolls. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do this quest, Scalding Morn Brew Delivery, where this is a timed quest and we only have 5 minutes to complete this quest, where we need to run all the way back to Anvilmar and we basically just have to go and deliver this to the person in Anvilmar. Back at Anvilmar, we can go down the stairs there and we can enter the stronghold, and then I think the person we need to talk to is way back here in the back area. So let's just jump over this railing here, down into here, jump over this railing here, over the table, and talk to the dwarf. So this was a very epic delivery, and we can go ahead and complete that quest, and then we can return the mug back to that camp. But we can also go ahead and get these 3 items out of our inventory here and turn in this quest to Felix. And then while we are here, I suppose I can go ahead and sell some of this stuff off, where I'll just double check that none of these are upgrades, and doesn't look like that's the case, except for the Anvilmar Sledge, of course, where that is a cool looking hammer. And let's go ahead and exit Anvilmar once again, and let's begin our siege on the Troll Cave. I guess we could bring back the mug first and complete that quest and get 50 copper, and that leveled us up, which is very nice. So we are just a little bit stronger as we just begin fighting all of the Frostmane trolls around here, where of course we have the cave right here, and we almost 2-shot this troll, which is pretty cool, but it took 3 shots. Where every single starting zone has a cave or a cave-like area in the context of Torrens that we can go ahead and go into, and it tends to be like the most challenging, or one of the most challenging areas in the entire starting experience, except for like humans. Their cave is not super challenging. But with this cave, I think this might be one of the most dangerous of all the starting zone caves, where if we are to look at the map here, we can see that there are just a ton of player deaths right here. And when we look at Dunmerle as a whole, Dunmerle is a pretty dangerous area. One part of that is due to the fact that dwarves are just a popular race, because the Alliance tends to be a little bit more popular than the Horde. So naturally there's going to be more player deaths in like these Alliance starting zones, where we can see a little bit up here where we were in Terraswamp Glades in the last series, and we can see some here with the Orcs and then the Barons, but we can see all of Teldrassil and Darkshore there, and especially Westfall and Redridge Mountains and Elven Forest there, where Redridge Mountains really is red. But let's go ahead and do our best and stay on our tippy toes, and let's go ahead and try to fight all of the troll whelps around here, where there's like 4 in this one small area, but we definitely seem to be a little powerful, and they are definitely a little bit on the weaker side, but the final troll is definitely going to be a little challenging for us. Where if I am to take a moment to explore the death log, we can see that Wendigo, which is basically going to be the enemies that we fight at the start of next episode, are the most dangerous mobs in Dunmerle, which that is like a cave-like area, and they are just like decently powerful enemies, and there's a dead body right there, and they also come in huge numbers. But we also have to be careful of the leper gnomes and the rockjaw bone snappers, and the 4th most deadly is the boss we're about to fight, which is scary. Then we have these crag boars, and of course falling, which a lot of people will die in this cave from falling. That's kind of interesting. And then we have some bears and some more frostmane and some other boars, so we just need to be careful of them. There's another dead body over there. I should leave. I need to leave. So let's just try to clear out this cave systematically, where we can see Grick near the code right there, where I guess some people would die from falling damage, like maybe that gnome right there. There's just so many dead bodies in this cave. This dwarf died in a very interesting way, frozen midair. Let's go ahead and buff ourselves up there. And there's 2 dead bodies right there. It just keeps getting worse and worse. So let's fight this troll whelp first, and then let's try to fight the novice perhaps. So let's pull this novice. Oh, frostbolt. Okay, let's try to get a hit on him there. And then another hit there. Okay, let's go ahead and just heal and drink up. We have another troll whelp coming, so that's definitely a dangerous aspect of this place. So let's back up here, and maybe this troll will wander over here, or let's pull him. And let's kill him. And then I'll eat and drink one more time. And then maybe let's try to pull the troll up. It's probably going to pull the boss as well. We're just going to naturally regenerate there. Or let's go ahead and do this fight. And maybe this Let's Play series is only one episode long, and maybe I'll re-record it if that's the case. Where we pulled both ones, so we might end up actually re-recording this. So we killed the troll up there, and now we have this guy that just frost shocked us, and I think he buffed himself up, so he's definitely a little strong. And let's go ahead and use our seal again once it's off cooldown, unless we can kill him beforehand, which would be nice. And we killed him beforehand, and we got Grillin Whitebeard's a journal. So let's go ahead and try to exit out of here pretty quickly, where we could kill all the trolls again if they do respawn, but I think it might be best and safest if we just get out of this cave immediately, because anybody who knows anything about hardcore knows that caves are the most dangerous part of hardcore, that and not paying attention to your surroundings. So it looks like these troll whelps here kind of respawn, so let's go ahead and just fight our way through them. And we can read this journal here. Day 1, the apprentice and I have arrived in Cold Ridge Valley today. The trip through the cave was mostly uneventful. We made a good camp a distance away from the cave. We're told the trolls have gathered in. Day 2, bloody wolf howling almost kept me up all night. I will have new wolfhide clothing in a few days. The lad got tangled up with a trog today, put up a fight, and managed to get the better of the ugly brute, but he's now nursing a nasty cut on his arm. Looks like I'll have to do the chores for a while. Day 3, cold, snowed a bit around noon. Day 4, the lad was back and in good spirits today, so we took our first look at the trolls. Frostmane, I'd say, judging by the markings on their skin and the various trinkets they wore on their bodies. Day 5, had the lad watch over the camp, and I snuck over to the cave and took a look around. The troll numbers are somewhat troublesome. The mountaineers might have to be summoned in force if the cave is to be cleared of the troll infestation. I realize I have not mentioned the trogs of late. They appear in the area in greater numbers, but they are so primitive that they do not pose much of a threat. Time may say if this is true or not. And not a drop of ale for almost a week now. Day 6, cold again, snows, trolls, no ale. Day 7, snow below, so white, sky above, so blue, wolves will howl the night, not a drop of brew. Day 8, the trolls are perhaps not as large a problem as we initially thought. They have some numbers, but are not well armed or organized. A small show of force should be more than adequate in dealing with the threat they pose. Where this is kind of an interesting and fun journal to read, and we have now exited the troll cave there, and we have all the trogs out here, which trolls and trogs are very similar in like the name, but we also have all these wolves and the boars over there, but none of these enemies pose any threat to us, just those trolls back there that we are now clear of. So let's go ahead and turn in this journal, where we could get the shield if we wanted, or we could get the staff, which I think we're going to pick the staff to sell. And we can now go ahead and deliver these observations to the mountaineer over there. So let's go ahead and return to Anvilmar, where we can read the report. A report on the state of the Frostmane trolls and the general area of Cold Ridge Valley, prepared by Grillin Whitebeard, Senate Special Envoy. From the time that I have spent observing the movement of the Frostmane trolls in the Cold Ridge Valley area, I have determined that they pose no large threat to dwarven settlements in the area. Moreover, they are a threat that can be eliminated with little additional support from the army. Though the assistance of mountaineers already stationed in Cold Ridge Valley and mercenaries paid with funds set aside by the Senate prior to my dispatchment, I am confident that the problem will be solved in short order. This action has been authorized with the sanction given to me by King Bronzebeard. Where let's go ahead and enter Anvilmar one last time, and we can go ahead and chat with this weaponsmith here, and we can sell all these different things that we have collected, and where I have gotten a Frostmane leather vest and 2 flimsy chain vests, but none of them are better than what I currently have equipped. And I have quite a bit of food and a little bit of water and this report, and I guess I'll go ahead and just repair our armor and spend 7 copper doing that. Where with completing that troll cave quest, we have now completed all the quests in Cold Ridge Valley, which means we have completed the starting zone for the dwarves and the gnomes, which is a very fun idea. And I'm going to go ahead and begin my journey out of Cold Ridge Valley and towards the main town in all of Dunmerle, excluding like the capital city, which I guess you could consider more important, but the main town that we are going to be spending time in as we continue to explore Dunmerle, where we have explored this little corner of the map, and we have quite a few more places that we can explore. But in order to leave, we have to go through this tunnel where we have this mountaineer right here that we can go ahead and give these observations to, and then we will get a quest to report to Keranos, and we have another quest up here where we can go ahead and deliver supplies to the innkeeper so we can kind of learn about the inn. But let's go ahead and enter this tunnel here. We're in the tunnel. We have some more trogs that we can go ahead and fight through as we get through this entire area. And I think as we do this, we will be able to level up to level 6, which is very cool. And I just really enjoy this experience because I think this is really the only time where you have to kind of do a little bit of a challenge to get out of the starting zone and into the rest of the zone proper. Where for the most part you can just wander out of the starting zone and just like walk into like the rest of the map. Where this you have to go through a very like specific route through a tunnel, and in that tunnel are a ton of trogs. And we have now successfully leveled up to level 6, which is very cool. Have a nice big open area right here with this raider. And then we can go ahead and go fight the one over there. And as we come around this bend here, we can see the last stretch of this tunnel where we have this raider right here and this raider right here. And as we kill this one, we can see that there is one more right there, but also the exit of this tunnel. So we have made it through this entire tunnel system, and as we jump out, we are going to leave Cold Ridge Pass, and we are going to be in Dunmerle proper, where we just have a short journey that has a couple cool things along the way, or one very specific cool thing that I kind of want to check out. So let's go ahead and wander this way, and I just love this area right here with the tunnel behind us, and we are kind of descending this mountain right here, and we can see the signpost that is pointing to Keranos, and we have this Iron Forge Mountaineer, and we have this old steam tank that the dwarves used to use in their various conflicts with other people and other factions. And we can go ahead and just continue along here with another Iron Forge Mountaineer up there, and we can just follow this road with some cool stone walls and these cool braziers and just get all the way to Keranos, which we can see in the distance all the way over there. I can point there and we can see kind of the tops of the blacksmith building there. So let's go ahead and continue running this way, where we saw an old destroyed steam tank right there, but there is a functional one right here. Or not necessarily functional, it's kind of decorative when it comes to the mechanics of the game, but in the lore we can use this steam tank to fight different enemies. And we have this camp right here with a gunsmith, and we have these two riflemen right here, and we have a dwarven mortar team, Angus and Shorty, which is a very fun thing that I enjoy a lot. And we also got Spotter Clemmy up there. But a Dwarven Mortar team, for people who don't know, is kind of just like a concept in lore where basically you have these two people who are part of like a unit that basically just work together, and they use mortars to blast enemies. Where when we look at Warcraft 3 and potentially Warcraft 2 as well, we can see that Dwarven Mortar teams were a unit in that game that you could like build and use out in the world, and they were like two dwarves and they had a mortar and you could command them and do whatnot. Where we can see here in World of Warcraft that these two dwarves are basically kind of like a reference to that idea that in Warcraft 3 with the Dwarven Mortar team that you could have, but also like a very real part of World of Warcraft lore, and basically kind of just like the military forces in this area of the world. Where let's go ahead and continue this way, where we can look off the road here into the snowy hills of Dunmerle, and we can see some cute little rabbits, but some less cute boars right there, and also some bears and snow leopards that we need to be a little bit careful of as we run through here. I could just buff myself up just in case we get attacked, but as we get around this bend here, we should see Keranos coming into view. Where indeed we do. We have a better view of the blacksmith right there, and let's go ahead and continue down the road just a little bit further, where we can see the Windowghoul cave over there that we can go ahead and try to tackle next episode and potentially die while we do that. And we can go ahead and see that we have this graveyard here, which is a very cool like piece of decoration in World of Warcraft in general, but it's not a very important place in World of Warcraft Hardcore. because if we die, we will return to the graveyard, but it's not like we can necessarily run back to our body from the graveyard. But we have this quest here where we can go ahead and turn in this quest, and let's go ahead and complete that, and we will have a quest to go out and do something in the future. But we have Keranos here, where I think I'm going to go ahead and run this way a little bit, where we can pick up this quest to go to Steel Grill Depot, which I might do really quickly, and we can run into here, into that blacksmith building that we saw, and we can see it is a very cool area right here with that massive forge. Exiting out this way, we do have the Keranos Inn, but I think I will return to the inn in just a moment, where I guess I'll come over here really quickly, where we can see Ironforge Mountain and the entrance to Ironforge, which is the dwarven capital that we will explore next episode. But as we run down here, we can go ahead and just see that there are 2 gnomes in this building, and normally this, oh, there we go, there is a captured leper gnome right there, and they have this entire kind of like a machine contraption that they are using in order to try to turn the leper gnome back into a normal gnome. And we can see some different gnomish machinery right here. But let's go ahead and run over to Steel Grill Depot, where I can go ahead and just cut through this area right here instead of going around on the road, where we have kind of like a town right next to Keranos, and it's like technically like part of Keranos, but it's like its own like distinct thing, where we can go ahead and pick up a few quests around here, and then we also have some more quests that we can pick up in Keranos, and then in total we are just going to have a wide variety of quests that we can do, and as we level up we will unlock even more, and we can go ahead and just explore all of that. Where I think this ammo for Rumble Shot, we can pick up the ammo from nearby the Wendigo Cave, and then we can return it back to that Dwarven Mortar team that I was talking about earlier, which is kind of a fun quest that takes you in that area. And it's kind of fun that you like exit the starting zone and then you see that Dwarven Mortar team and you're like, oh, this is cool, and then you return to them in the future. It's kind of like a nice bit of foreshadowing. But Steel Grill Depot, really cool. And we saw the Mechanostriders there, where I didn't really look at them attentively, but they are the gnome racial mount, which is cool. And dwarves, of course, can ride rams, where we will see the area where you can get a ram in the near future. But we have this quest here for beer-basted boar ribs, so we can go ahead and pick that up. And then let's run into the Thunder Brew Distillery, which I guess if I am to just take a moment to look at the building, it is a very, very cool looking building, and I just love it a lot. And it looks really cool on the outside, but if we are to run inside, it's just such a cool building, where we can see this massive inn area right here, where we have a paladin trainer that we can go ahead and chat with in order to further in the ways of the light, or train further, where we can unlock a new holy light right there, and we can learn divine protection and seal of the crusader. So Seal of the Crusader is very similar to our Seal of Righteousness, where it fills the Paladin with the spirit of a Crusader for 30 seconds, granting 31 melee attack power. The Paladin also attacks 40% faster, but deals less damage with each attack. Only one seal can be active on the Paladin at any one time. Unleashing the seal's energy will judge an enemy for 10 seconds, increasing holy damage taken by up to 20. Your melee strikes will refresh the spell's cooldown. Only one judgment per Paladin can be active at one time. And I'm not entirely sure if Seal of Righteousness or Seal of the Crusader is better, but it might be like you want to use Seal of the Crusader and then use Seal of Righteousness over and over after you do that. But we just got a new holy light right there, and then we go into protection, and we can see divine protection. You are protected from all physical attacks and spells for 6 seconds, but during that time you cannot attack or use physical spells yourself. Once protected, the target cannot be made invulnerable by divine shield, divine protection, or they're missing an Oxford comma, blessing of protection again for 1 minute. Where this is a very, very nice kind of like safety ability, defensive ability that we can use in order to save ourselves from a tricky situation, where the Paladin class has a ton of these ideas and skills that we can use in order to save ourselves. And because of that, Paladins tend to be one of the best classes to play in the hardcore challenge, just because it is such a safe quest. But let's go ahead and turn this in and maybe get to the refreshing spring water since we have so much food. And let's go ahead and chat with the innkeeper here, who is a little bit bigger than us, which is kind of interesting. and we can make this in our home, where we can go ahead and use our hearthstone to return here in the future. But if I am to take a moment to continue exploring the inn, we can see all of these cool areas right here with the swords, and then we have the boar head and the deer head and all of these kegs of ale. And if we come into here, we have the kitchen, but in the back of the kitchen we have this staircase that we can go down, and there are like 4 rooms if you count this room we are in right here as a room, where we can come down here and we can see there's a bedroom with a fireplace and 2 beds right here. And we can then go over here where we can go into this room where there is another bedroom with a fireplace and 2 beds, and then we could go into this room where there's yet another fireplace and a bed. So there's just so many fireplaces in this building, where there's like 3 there, right? And then if we come up here, we have a 4th one right there, and then if we come here, there's a 5th one right there. So this inn is such a neat and cozy area with many cool fireplaces. But let's go ahead and find a chair to sit at, where we can sit here and we can go ahead and take a break from our adventures and return next episode, where we can begin exploring Dunmerle and also the capital of the dwarves, Ironforge, and all the different quests that we can do around here in Dunmerle, where I'm going to call it good for this episode. And I really hope you all enjoyed our first look at the dwarves in the world of Azeroth, and also the start of my final hardcore Let's Play series, where I hope y'all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember, as always, to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the world of Azeroth. Goodbye.